Dallas Cowboys, they say it's kicking. Do we agree with this, Trista?
See, that's how much they have to reach, that there's literally no weakness with this team, that they're like, oh, well, they can miss some kicks.
Well, how about the run game? Tony Pollard's had over 20 carries once.
We know what the concern is. It's Mike McCarthy.
It is.
No, I'm kidding.
Or it's also the run game.
They probably couldn't. They probably couldn't put that in their like little write up, because otherwise they would have gotten people would have gotten really mad. It'd be like Dallas Cowboys' biggest weakness: coaching, decision making,
play call.
That's play calling, like organizationally, like how are they gonna do? What I would say is this: it's the offensive line. It really is. Like, I know that this offensive line, all the news is how good it's going to be. You know, you do a new deal with Zach Martin. Like, you've got Tyron Smith. You've got Tyler Smith. Like, you would think that this is a team that you could rely on. You got Tyler Biadasz. But, like, I think that the offensive line uncertainty is real, because every single year since 2017, there's been major injuries to key pieces of the offensive line, to the point where guys have had to just straight out like play different positions. You had the rookie center who ended up playing on the left side of the line. Like Terrence Steele was like I called him what did I say? He was like a turnstile for a long time. He's recovering from injury. He's only played right tackle in 3 of the seasons that he's played. Like, now he's going to try to play left guard. So I'm very suspect on the health of the offensive line, because every year there's something big that happens, and then guys have to slot over, and then Dak Prescott's running for his life. So to me, it's got to be the O-line.
The thing with kicker for them is you can find a kicker week 3, week 4. There's like
Mason Crosby's
out of any of the position that you need to fill, kicker is the one that I would love to have, even though I've seen it plenty. I would love to have as a weakness, because there are guys waiting to get those opportunities. Young, veterans, whatever the case is. But they've got a kicker right now in Brandon Aubrey that's only kicked in the USFL, never attempted a kick in the NFL, and he was drafted by Toronto FC, the soccer club.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see if this actually becomes if he's their kicker during the regular season. And it may work, because we've seen kickers before come out of nowhere and they become great kickers. I'm more concerned about the run game for them, because Tony Pollard getting over 20 carries in a game is something we saw once last year. And that's what you want to do. You want to run the ball more. So if that's going to be your game plan, you don't have the horses for it right now. And if the offensive line is also a problem, like Trista just pointed out, well, then the run game may even be more of an issue. And then more pressure falls on Dak. And then we sit here and we're going, why is Dak Prescott throwing the ball 50 times a game? And Ryan's sitting here in December going, why did I bet the Cowboys?
No, I promise. I vow.
You vow?
That will not happen. Oh, yeah.
Because you believe in Mike McCarthy?
Buy in now while you can get the good number. Dallas is not only winning the Super Bowl, they're definitely winning that division, though, and definitely grab the win total. Buy into the Dallas Cowboys hype. Words I've never said before. Never. I'm doing it this year.
I think you're going to regret those words.
Oh, no. Nope, okay. I promise. I will write it in blood. I won't really do that. That's probably an HR violation.
I'm curious, Bill. We've got 2 teams in Alabama and Ohio State who are having essentially open quarterback competitions. We don't know who's going to start. Ryan Day's putting a deadline on it. Which team to you, with quarterback question marks outside of Georgia, do you feel the most confident in?
Well, I think Ohio State, because of the system. And we were just talking about Marvin Harrison, and he's not the only one. I mean, Emeka Egbuka is on just about every All-American list. Cade Stover's an NFL tight end. Carnell Tate, their third receiver, is pretty good. So whoever inherits that quarterback job, I remember we were doing this 2 years ago with C.J. Stroud. The question was, can he do what Justin Fields did? And it took a few games, and then he was a Heisman candidate. So I think Ohio State, it'll work out. Alabama's a little bit different for me because it's still wide open. I think all 3 of those guys will play early in the season, whether it's Jalen Milroe, Buckner, Ty Simpson. And it really comes down to that first game, the second game against Texas, where, okay, is that a Jalen Milroe? Is it his job? Because remember, he did beat Texas A&M last year. It's a wide open thing. I have more questions about Alabama than Ohio State in terms of who runs that team, because the quarterback for Alabama will dictate how Tommy Rees and Nick Saban run that offense, whereas not much is going to change if it's Devin Brown or Kyle McCord at Ohio State.
So Alabama's the favorite to win the SEC West, just over even money at plus 105. LSU's right behind them at plus 175. I mean, look, for so long we've talked about the SEC as a whole, Bill, right? And it's been Alabama's conference, right? They've owned the damn thing. Now Georgia's kind of taken over, but you still have the West where it is Alabama as the favorite, and then LSU's starting to creep up there a little bit. Do you foresee a season where LSU can win the West over Alabama?
Yeah, I mean, and this was the first year in a while with the preseason pool that it was dead heat. You know, there was a lot of people that think LSU was going to do that, and the reasons being Jaden Daniels is returning. Defensively, they have a ton of talent. Harold Perkins, Mason Smith, a lot of depth on Omar Spates and Oregon State transfer. They're going to be really good. So this is the first time probably since that height of the Les Miles era where it's pretty even between Alabama and LSU. But the reason I'm going to go with Alabama is, and I think this is a pretty good one, all their tough games are at home. The toughest ones, Texas, Tennessee, LSU. They've only lost 5 games at home since 2010. And 3 of the guys that beat them at Bryant-Denny, I've been saying this all summer, 3 of those 5 losses, the guy that beat them won the Heisman.
Bill, what are your thoughts on Penn State coming into the season? Because everybody's talking about, you know, obviously Ohio State has Marvin Harrison, so they're going to be great offensively. In Michigan, I really like their backfield with Edwards and Corum, but I like Penn State's backfield just as much with Nick Singleton and Katron Allen. Last year, they went from averaging, I believe, like 108 rushing yards a game to 181. And like you said, if you look at their schedule this year, I mean, Michigan at home, they get the Ohio State Buckeyes during a little bit of a rebuild year. Any chance that this could be the year for Penn State, maybe as a college football playoff team, or a year where they could win the Big Ten?
This is their best shot to do it. Now, I had a buy or sell article at Sporting News today, and I was kind of saying, of all the hype that Penn State's getting, it's one of those deals where I'll believe it when I see them beat Michigan and Ohio State. Michigan, obviously, last year ran for 414 yards against Penn State. So they have to prove that they can shut that down. And that game's later in the season. Ohio State, they haven't beat in Columbus since 2011. So I think Penn State, but to answer your question, yeah, they're super loaded. A lot of talent. A lot of that's going to rest on Drew Aller, the freshman or sophomore quarterback, with Singleton and Allen, with the passing game, with Olu coming back at offensive tackle. And their defense is going to be really good. I think this is the most excited I've been about a Big Ten East race probably since I was in high school, and I'm a Central Ohio kid. So to see Ohio State and Penn State and Michigan with the talent that all 3 of those schools have, it's going to be awesome to see. But I think there is some level of pressure on the Nittany Lions to deliver on those expectations because of the lack of success they've had, particularly against Ohio State.